make the air with music ring, the Mormon Tabernacle Choir and its historic trip through Europe. They began in London, England, and performed at Royal Albert Hall. Their next stop was Brussels, Belgium, and a concert at the Palais des Beaux-Arts. Then the choir traveled to Geneva, Switzerland. A performance there took place at Victoria Hall. Their next stop was in Genoa, Italy, and a concert in Torino. The choir then traveled by ship to Rome and performed at the Accademia di Santa Cecilia at the Vatican. Then they moved on to Marseille, France, and a concert in the Dome. The ship took them on to Barcelona, Spain, and they performed in the Palau de la Música.
You can't get around him, you must come in by through the land.
The choir again traveled inland to Madrid for two concerts, first in the Basilica of El Escorial, then in the Auditorio Nacional. And finally to Lisbon, Portugal. And a performance at the Coliseum. We met them as they toured the Mediterranean. It is called the Eternal City. Authors have written about the way the light touches the buildings and makes them golden. Artists have created some of the world's most magnificent works here. Composers have been inspired by its feeling. Now, for the first time, the Mormon Tabernacle Choir would see and experience it and leave behind an impression of its own. Rome. The city not built in a day.
You see that strange dome? That's the synagogue of Rome.
But the Mormon Tabernacle Choir doesn't even have that much time to see it. The ancient sites, as breathtaking as you might imagine.
This is Capitol Hill in Rome. It used to be the home of the Senate. The mayor and the city council have their offices here now. If it looks a bit like the Renaissance, that's because some 500 years ago, Michelangelo created this facade.
On the other side of those beautiful buildings, the Roman Forum, the Colosseum, model for every modern stadium ever built, and then the sites of Christian Rome, those magnificent basilicas, St. Paul's, St. John's, and St. Peter's, all unforgettable to the choir.
The feeling that I got when I was in the Sistine Chapel and saw the hand of God actually touch Adam, that was the most exciting thing that I have ever seen and one of the more moving things. And I noticed the entire choir was saying the same thing.
You understand there's a spirit here, and you just want to give back what you've kind of gathered in. It's like spiritual food to be here and see this wonderful, beautiful city.
The famous dome of St. Peter's Basilica, the largest Catholic church in the world. 3 blocks away, the Accademia di Santa Cecilia, concert venue for the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. And after a sweltering day in the Roman sun, more than one choir member wondered where to find the energy for a performance. But they understood the significance of being here.
If it were nothing more than just a great concert venue, then that would be great. But with the religion background, then it makes it very special for us too.
As they performed, the choir members pondered this historic moment as representatives of their church.
From the standpoint of the mission of the choir, which is the representative of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, that also is significant here because we feel that the choir does let the people know what the church is all about.
But to do that, they knew they had to first impress this audience, so they sang historic religious music in Latin. And they brought with them a talented young tenor named Robert Brough. It all worked. With each successive song, the applause and the bravos became increasingly louder until the normally reserved Roman audience was overjoyed. And afterwards, the emotions continued. It was more than anyone expected.
They were beautiful songs, and they were all beautiful. I really enjoyed it. It was my first time that I heard a choir, tabernacle choir.
It was very, very, very beautiful, yes. And it was I cannot say emotion.
Order the love for the church, it was the love for our country.
We traveled from Rome to Marseille aboard the cruise ship Rhapsody, docking on a clear, warm morning with the city and surrounding hills in view. Marseille was founded by the Greeks in 600 BC, an important port and trading center along the Mediterranean coast. Centuries later, Louis XIV built the fort that still protects the marina. And on its own island, Le Chateau d'If, which according to legend housed the prisoner known as the Man in the Iron Mask. First on the tour, the Palais Longchamp, built in 1850 as a tribute to water. It rarely rains in Marseille, so to create this fountain, city fathers had to dig a channel to a river 45 miles away.
Okay, turn around, Mom.
A great place for choir members to capture memories to take back home. Even more striking, the French Basilica Notre-Dame de la Garde, with its golden statue of the Virgin Mary and Christ Child. It is the city's landmark and highest point. Choir members found it very special. They were taken with its beauty.
You wait your whole life to come to a place like this, and when you're here, it's just overwhelming. I mean, you just look out, and there's not a bad view anywhere. It's just unbelievable. You see her from a distance. We've been watching her from a distance, and Mary and Jesus, and it's just absolutely beautiful. There's a statue of a child, an angel, whispering, and so it's very sacred here.
The choir saw that Marseille is also a modern city, the second largest in France, with tree-lined streets. Some of those streets very narrow for tour buses, sidewalk cafes, and a soccer stadium. World Cup games took place while we were there.
We've all seen the famous film of Americans liberating Paris, but our guide on the bus told us this morning that Americans were the ones who liberated Marseille as well, and he took the time to thank us.
So they like Americans here. That was good news, because the choir still did not know how well received it would be at the evening's concert. The LDS Church has only been proselyting in some European countries since the 1970s. But one thing this group has learned from previous travels, Europeans love their music.
It opened a lot of doors and a lot of hearts to very important key persons in governmental and local positions, which will help us to be recognized in the way the church should be recognized.
That afternoon, choir spouses and family members traveled inland to the quaint city of Aix-en-Provence, an area that dates back to the Romans, and one very much admired by the artist Cézanne. Everywhere you look, there are fountains. They call them healing waters.
This has been such a beautiful experience. As we came into one of the beautiful Catholic cathedrals, we entered a mass, and the people were so kind and reverent, and they did truly love the Lord. And one of them came up and talked with me and expressed her love for us.
My son was, Rich Moore, was on a mission here some years ago, and it's been a real thrill to come back and see the places that he wrote us about, and that we can enjoy them. People have been very nice here.
As much as they enjoyed the people and the scenery, there was concern. Only 200 tickets had sold for their performance, but it soon became known as the Miracle Concert. 2,000 filled the arena, and the choir sang to them in their own language. They also sang praises to the Lord. And the purely American Gershwin, a favorite with the French. The audience coaxed them into more than one encore, and as the choir finished its trademark Battle Hymn of the Republic, the place exploded. Afterwards, as always, the personal touch.
It was wonderful. It was a great moment for me and for everybody here. I guess it was a great opportunity for other persons who are not members of the church to feel the Spirit tonight.
The Mormon Tabernacle Choir spent part of its tour cruising from one city to another along the Mediterranean. After grueling long days in the hot sun and late concerts, choir members were happy to spend a day at sea, on a cruise ship all to themselves. They even canceled morning rehearsal.
My plans is just doing nothing else than relax. Nothing else.
Moving every other day. Some days, times we have moved every day though. So this has been a very easy, I say, trip compared to some trips we've made. But this on the move, well, a change of climate. It was very cold and rainy in London, and now we're in warm weather, so we're enjoying it.
You would think with all the togetherness they might get tired of each other. Just the opposite. They seem to relish a day like this. They may sing together, but they don't get to socialize much.
Really, it's kind of a commuter choir. You know, we go, we rehearse, we practice, we do the broadcast, and you might have a chance to visit. But this is the chance where you really get to know each other and become family.
You see each other constantly and know so little. It's like having to run through a great art gallery, but now you have the time to peruse. That's most enjoyable.
Some found friendship in peace and quiet. Others playing games or chatting around a lunch table. It sure beat the meals in sacks they often eat before performances.
The sun has come out. It's a glorious afternoon. We're waiting for lunch, actually. Just a little hungry. We haven't eaten for a couple hours now.
This is great! We joined a group touring the ship. Of course, first thing to check out, these. One of the choir members told me that the crew was informed they better have the right number of lifeboats, because even if the members hadn't seen that one big movie, they knew the story.
Tutta la vita proprio della nave, su questo però non mi risulta.
On this ship, we haven't had no serious problem, no real problems. We have had little fire, but nothing really serious.
At least not on this ship. And a rather gorgeous view from the bridge on this sunny afternoon. The officers charted our course by map and radar. At 116 meters long and 21 meters wide, this crew calls Rhapsody small but nice. Small would be the hallways and the cabins, especially if there are two of you. Nice is the view from the decks. There were 714 of us, but the ship can hold 1,265 people. Here's the engine room. So noisy, ear protection is required gear. But the sailor on duty told us everything was running smoothly. And it was smooth sailing for the crew and this rather different American group. They had never heard of so many people in a choir or of their church.
They're really, really kind and very good people. They gave him a book too, and it has been a pleasure to have them on board.
Il libro di Mormone si chiama.
The Mormon book, yes.
However, there were some restrictions that went along with these passengers.
Yes, as concerns him, the problem is with cigarettes, that he can't smoke, and for the crew, alcohol too is forbidden, and wine or beer and coke, and as regards us, we have to wear trousers or long skirts. Anyway, it goes.
It's different.
Yes, it's different.
That same evening came a much anticipated event, the Tabernacle Choir performing for the Tabernacle Choir. Some of the members organized a talent show. Here's Marcia McBride and her Jew's Harp. Bet you didn't know they are country western fans. That's Debbie Martin and her men's chorus line. It's not easy to become a member of the choir. Competition is stiff. And on that night, back in June, you could see why. Here's Annette West.
I have only one request of your life, that you spend it all with me.
And from the sublime to the ridiculous. Ever seen anyone go through a clothes hanger? The normally quiet business manager of the choir, Udell Polson, decided to step into the spotlight.
This is smaller than the one I had the first time.
We'll get back to him.
At the end of a song, take a breath, deep and long. The fish has home.
You should have had a dress rehearsal.
few days later, another very special performance. This one for the crew. Choir members came to love the sailors, the waiters, the maids, and other staff, so they gave them a private concert.
Right up to the walls of Jericho, Jericho, we marched with spear in hand. Lo, the rattle horn, Joshua cried, "'Cause the battle lamp in my hand, God Almighty, in the loud run sheep horn begins to blow, and the trumpet begins to sound. Like a rose, so won't you be mine, like a rose, somewhere over the rainbow skies are blue."
And because their audience came to understand who they are, the choir ended with this room-ringing remembrance. The city of Barcelona, familiar to the world because of the 1992 Olympics, and memorable because of its intriguing art and architecture. We began our tour in the Old City at the medieval cathedral. Construction started in the 13th century and took hundreds of years to complete. From the spires to the gargoyles, it still serves as a landmark and sacred place of worship. Next to the cathedral, the palace of King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, the rulers who backed Christopher Columbus's voyages to the New World. It was in this building where many were martyred during the Spanish Inquisition. These narrow and picturesque streets with their elegant archways still exemplify a fascinating Spanish culture.
The people seem to be beautiful people and very friendly, very helpful. The ones we've talked with, our taxi driver today spent extra time telling us places to go and things to do. It's been really a wonderful experience here.
As we moved down the boulevards, we experienced a variety of architectural styles. Everywhere you look, another artist has added a personal touch to a building, a fountain, or a balcony. And without a doubt, the most unusual place on the trip is Gaudi Park, with its gingerbread buildings, rock formations, and serpentine bench, a momentary respite for the choir, which had very little time to relax. The warm, sunny afternoon would soon include some singing in this, the city's finest concert hall, Palau de la Música. Later that evening, the Mormon Tabernacle Choir would perform here, but the singers arrived hours early to record music and the spoken word. The concert hall is known for its design and ornate interior. The sound will be beautiful here, the choir is told, but the hall is just a little short on air conditioning. Bonneville Productions has arranged to use a Spanish television station for this shoot. A crew of 40 with 8 cameras will capture it. As the choir does a quick rehearsal, the staff checks scripts and teleprompter.
Esto no necesitamos por la grabación.
A minor hitch with the audio moments before taping. That's Ed Payne, who produces the broadcast every week.
We get to a point where everything comes to a head, and for 1 hour, it seems like that the world will end if we don't get going in the next 1 second.
Soon, music and the spoken word begins with its familiar tones. But this was just one of 3 locations for the weekly broadcast. The choir began its tour in London and first sang from Royal Albert Hall. second week, the broadcast originated from Victoria Hall in Geneva, Switzerland. And now here at the Palau. But it is never easy on the road, mostly because there are so many little details. And basically the Americans have to teach the Europeans how to do this show in one take.
The way the rehearsal needs to happen, the way that the conductors like to have things happen, that is hard, even in the United States. And then add the fact that we have to do it in a different language really complicates it.
Fortunately, Ed speaks Spanish, and the crew is also very curious about this group from the United States.
Fascinated with America's choir, this choir of the world, you know, this 300 voices, this incredible Hulk. I mean, this is a novel, new experience for them.
Ian MacKay has literally spent years finessing his international contacts, booking the concerts and sweet-talking European television stations into shooting and broadcasting music and the spoken word.
I've poured lots of buckets of oil on situations around the world, and we've had lots of lunches and lots of dinners. But wonderful people to work with, and just a great blessing to make these friendships.
And if my Savior help me, hallelujah, wherever I go. Hallelujah.
But there was one more performance before the actual concert, a fireside for church members who could not afford tickets at the music hall. So the choir went to them. Among the choir members who know and love the Spanish people, Garth and Kaylin Wakefield, the former mission president, and his wife, added their voices to the songs of praise. And Elder Gene R. Cook of the area presidency also added his testimony of the work of the choir and the church throughout Europe. Church members loved him. They loved them all. And the children said thank you with flowers.
It's a good experience for my family and me. I think it can forget it for a long time.
Oh, I think I don't have enough words to say it, what I feel. I think it's just great.
Then it was time for the real thing, a concert in the famous music hall. The audience members entered skeptically, wondering if the choir could prove itself. By the end, the choir did what it has done so many times, made believers of the skeptics. And they helped build one of those bridges of friendship. Elder Cook and a government official exchanged compliments first and then gifts. Morning breaks on another adventure for the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. It's time to leave the ship.
Thank you for everything. You were great.
Choir members express their fond farewells to the crew of Rhapsody. They will now travel inland to Madrid. It will take 9 hours. And moving 700 people, choir members, their families and friends, management, staff, and security is, as someone put it, like moving an army across Europe. It is quite the caravan of 14 buses. When the choir leaves a location, members must put their luggage in the halls by midnight. So what you see here is only their hand luggage. The other bags, more than 1,000 of them, have already left the port. And those paper sacks they're all carrying, that's lunch, not what you would call first-class food.
The choir goes on a business trip. It's not a pleasure trip. And they know that. Although we do try to arrange a little sightseeing in every city they visit, but the sightseeing is on the run. So they go sightseeing, then they go back, go to rehearsal, go to give a concert, and it's a very busy time the choir spends when they're on tour.
And on this tour, there was much more than singing. Oh, the choir saw some spectacular scenery along the way, but to the media, they were the attraction. Who are these people? Why are they here? And what about their church?
Yo he cantado por 3 años.
Those and many other questions choir members and church leaders answered time and again to the media across Europe. This tour was covered by television news crews, radio reporters, and newspaper writers in every country they visited.
Here in Europe, we began to have religion in television. For us, it's not normal. I mean, just Catholic and Catholicism. So for us, Mormons is a kind of what it is. So it's important to ask questions because we don't know anything about.
But they were concerned about how we were gaining members so rapidly and so well in Latin America, and they were kind of wondering if we had the same designs on the Spanish people.
But sometimes part of the tour was just plain long and tiring. It's hurry up and wait for the buses. And once you get on, it's crowded. This is luxury road travel, but there's not really that much room. However, a travel day can be much more relaxing than a concert day.
We try to pace the event so that there's one major event every other day. So we have one day in between to rest the voices. It's very important for choir people not to get too tired.
And rest they do, some of them. Others catch up on their reading or sewing. And part of the fun is just seeing whose bus is going to get there first. There turns out to be the best location yet, a 5-star hotel in downtown Madrid, the Melia Castilla. The choir will sing 2 concerts here in Madrid, very important ones. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is on the brink of being recognized in Spain. Their mission as ambassadors could make the difference, could answer prayers. Madrid, the capital and largest city in Spain. 3 million people live in this very cosmopolitan region. It is a clean city with a mixture of old and new architecture. This, the Salamanca quarter, is still one of the richest sections. But much of the 15th century Moorish influence remains. One of the most notable buildings, the bull ring. Bullfighters are very superstitious. They always enter the ring at the back, so they will live to exit from the front. This is just one of many museums in the city, but it is the Prado, world famous, because it houses the treasured works of the great Spanish painters, El Greco, Velázquez, and Goya. This is just one of the royal chapels, with a palace attached to it. Choir members went for a closer look. And some even had a chance to put in a good word for their upcoming concerts.
Sí, hay que cuidarlos bien, ¿no? ¿Y su esposa cómo está?
This is the palace of King Philippe IV, 2,840 rooms.
Today it too is a museum. And this is the portrait of Philippe IV, King of Spain from 1621 to 1665. Our tour seemed to come full circle when a choir member said, "I'm a direct descendant of that king."
I was doing some genealogy about 4 or 5 months ago in the Salt Lake Genealogical Library there. And I put in a family member that was way back that I had, and up came all this genealogy that had been done by the church medieval unit. I can't hardly even tell you how I felt. I thought, you know, I really felt there was a resemblance there, and that was exciting to me. And I just had a real warm feeling because families are so important to me.
This portrait is in the building where a very important and memorable concert took place, the picturesque town of Escorial, Spain. peaceful, quaint, and home of the Royal Chapel outside Madrid, another concert site for the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. Inside the basilica, the magnificent altar made of pink marble, gold, and frescoes. This is the burial place for all the Spanish kings since Philip II, 400 years ago. It is the heart of Spanish culture and religion.
We've heard an awful lot about the significance of this place and the special nature it is to Catholics and the sacred nature it is to them. And for us to be here to share our music is beyond description.
The idea for this concert actually happened a couple of years ago when the choir in its weekly broadcast recorded O Sacrum Convivium, and a copy of that recording was given to King Juan Carlos of Spain on the anniversary of his father's death. He loved the music. The man who gave him that copy, Ron Horton.
Ron Horton was a former music director for Ballet West. He loved the choir and made it a goal when he moved to Spain to help bring them here.
We couldn't have dreamed of it without some connections of sorts, and these connections came about naturally through his association, and he devoted a great deal of his life's efforts, and then unfortunately became ill and passed away. So today in our own hearts we're singing a memorial to Ron Horton.
Horton befriended Jose Paris, a respected composer with connections to the king. Paris was the key to Escorial.
Cantarlo el coro del tabernáculo.
They loved my music and decided they would sing it.
Entonces yo con él vi que venía la tournée europea.
So when I saw they were coming here on a European tour,
Y entonces pensé que había que traerlo aquí al Escorial.
I really felt that we needed to bring them here to Escorial.
The composer was not disappointed. He called the choir spiritual, mystical.
Cantar este coro como aquí.
He says there's no choir in all of Madrid that could sing like this choir here.
So not only was this a great musical experience, but also an historic event.
To have received this invitation is a tremendous compliment to the church and an equally, if not greater, recognition of the church itself.
Their sound echoed through the basilica. The Spaniards said it was like nothing they'd ever heard before. And the sweetness of their words made the audience want to linger. From the very back to the Monsignor in the front row, they stood and applauded for 10 minutes until the last choir member had left the altar.
I have been surprised. I mean, it has been really wonderful, incredible, no? Especially this incredible group coming from America in this special place.
Hey, Lauren. Here we go.
Their second day in Madrid, choir members had another remarkable experience. That's Carrera marble being taken to the site, used to cover this building, a new LDS temple. The choir had no idea how near completion it was. For some, like David Droba, it was simply overwhelming. He served a mission here in the early 70s when Franco was dictator. It was difficult in Spain then. He did not baptize anyone.
When I saw this, I told my wife, it's un milagro, it's a miracle. When Marion G. Romney dedicated Spain, he said that the Apostle Paul had visited here in Spain. And I felt his spirit very strongly, because I went to visit branches of the church where I taught. In each city I was in Badalona, Santa Coloma de Gramenet. In Santa Coloma de Gramenet, there wasn't one member. We found this family where
Now the stake president's one of the sons. In Badalona, there was one member. Right now there's 700.
Others were amazed at the size of the new temple grounds. 32 acres, including a missionary training center, a stake center, and a visitor center.
Our spirit here in this land, being here and participating and seeing the temple. It's a culmination of the whole tour.
And though he has traveled with the choir on several occasions, soloist Robert Breaux had life-changing experiences as well.
It's been incredible. Some things are just wonderfully historically, some things are wonderful musically, some things are wonderful spiritually, and sometimes, like this place, it combines all three. So it's been just beyond words. It's hard to talk about it.
Breaux had his own little miracle while traveling. He lost his voice and then was suddenly able to sing again. He credited the prayers from the choir members and a blessing.
I've got to know them quite well. They're wonderful people, wonderfully musical, but also as people. That's why they're so great musically, I think, is because it starts out with a bunch of lovely individuals.
For Breaux, who is Catholic, the tour was faith-promoting. He and the choir simply joining voices to sing praises to the Lord.
It's just as inspiring to see the faith of the choir, too, because they walk into these spaces and are equally awed at the beauty, the majesty of it. And so I think I'm not even sure if Catholics are affected one way or another. You're just affected.
This was to be their last performance in Spain, another important event. But these choir concerts had already met every expectation, every hope that church leaders had for the tour.
I feel we're doing the Lord's mission here. You saw the temple today, and I know you had exactly the same feeling I had. There's something big going on here. You don't build a full-size temple like that at the tremendous cost of millions of dollars unless the prophets got something in mind for this great country and these people. President Hinckley made it very clear to me when we came that there were several places that he felt were very, very necessary for us to visit, contemplating what I presume he saw as the future of the church in Europe. So it's very exciting to be part of this great unfolding of the Lord's plan as we go forth from country to country.
And here at the Auditorio Nacional, another beautiful concert hall, the choir sang with strength and spirit. President Gordon B. Hinckley calls the Mormon Tabernacle Choir the crown jewel of the church. Others call it America's choir. And what members discovered again in their travels this summer, they are much loved the world over. And here in Madrid, they sang Encore, after Encore, after Encore. It was all so memorable.
we talked to some monks who gave us addresses that want to read the Book of Mormon and learn about the Church of Jesus Christ, and we were very excited.
Gets the word out. Who are the Mormons, I guess you want to say, and really helps with the spirit that was here. And a lot of people came that were non-members.
Like they were saying earlier, how many Book of Mormons we're going to give away. It's so true. We're going to give so many more away because of this time.
We're going to get a lot of contacts out of it, a lot of interest in the church. There hasn't been all that much, but I think that's going to change. I think this is really a help to the work.
A lot of people have a different point of view of who we are, but with the choir coming, that helps us a lot. They're great missionaries for us.
Anything that just gets us in the spotlight a little more, and they see that we're doing good things and that we're interested in the same things that they are. I think this is really good for our church.